Right?
Yes, we're terrified.
Yes. They're terrified of me? Yes, do you have a question?
When you're finished, I was wondering if somebody could take 30 seconds to explain why we're here today.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So we're going to play one more tune, and I love the dancing. It's very encouraging, and thank you all for coming out to this protest today.
whatever we want. We're doing it here today, we're doing it now. Thanks, but I don't give you permission to film me. So I'm gonna turn this way, thanks. Yeah. So, thanks for coming out here. And I'd like some of you to come out to our Occupied General Assembly. It's Sundays at 1 p.m. Wednesdays at 7. It was beautiful space. I can turn into a dance party if we decide we're done talking. We can start dancing. Because it doesn't have to be all about talking. It can be about fun. It can be about social change. It can be about everything.
I'd like to see some of the cops get out here and dance. The best way to serve the community. Hi everybody, I just want to say wonderful to see you here tonight. Solidarity with the beautiful student movement in Quebec. Urge all Canadians everywhere to always stand up for all their rights. The right to education, the right to expression, the right to assembly, the right to housing, the right to health care. And I really love being out in public space with you, expressing myself politically, and thank you to our amazing bands and musicians. Vancouver is a beautiful place tonight.
Maybe play on a keyboard. Yeah, I just want to say one thing, and that's our right to democracy and how it's been perverted in this country. And I'd like to see more people stand up to the bullshit that's coming down in Ottawa. Did any passers-by or people who are just stopping to enjoy the music, if you have any questions about why we're here, about why we're wearing these red squares, about Occupy, feel free to come and talk to any of us.
No.
Troll. Hey. It's a public spot. We got legal observers, so the police hands are tied.
What?
Police?
Legal observers?
Yeah. The ones in the orchard, about 3 or 4 of them over there. And making sure the police don't step outside the bounds.
Legal
Yeah. And making sure that they abide by Section 10 of the Charter of Rights.
Maybe they're voluntary.
They're voluntary. I've seen them before.
in Vancouver from the downtown east side, and that's his sister. I just want to bring up a point. Sergeant Ken Athens at our first Casserole demo where there was arrests that were made came up to me and told me that he had just returned from Montreal. I was in Montreal myself at the same time. That's how we kind of made the conversation. Not that I talk to cops often, but he was sent out there by the Vancouver Police Department specifically for training on how to criminalize dissent here in the student movement that's happening here in Vancouver. And I just want to make a point that one of the problems as to why there were so many women that went missing and were murdered in Vancouver was because there was no correspondence between the municipal police department and the RCMP. And I'm outraged at the fact that they're willing to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on sending Ken Athens out to learn about how to criminalize dissent, that they couldn't even make a phone call across the border or boundary to talk about women who are being picked off of our street and murdered. Marching in the streets, and also that it's not just the criminalization of dissent and like the police brutality and the rest that we've seen here in Vancouver. It's a microcosm of a much larger issue. People, Gregory Williams brought up at the press conference, the downtown east side is occupied by a police presence 24/7, you know, and people are subjected to police brutality all the time. They don't have jail solidarity and support. They don't have the privilege.
I had my drum smashed 3 weeks ago by BPD. I can't even get more dog food because I had to buy another drum. Why? Because they say I can't be poor in the drive.
We have the privilege to be able to hold a press conference. We have the privilege to be able to get to a computer, to rally 100 people together, to march in the streets. Not everybody has that privilege. So when we march in the streets, I think that we need to not just focus on the...
Again, I don't want to start sounding like a broken record. You're not on. You're not on. You're not on.
It's a mic. It's a mic. I don't know how.
I got it.
Cool. So if there are any passers-by or people who are here for the festivities, for the music, and who have any questions about why we're here, about why we're wearing these red squares, and about what this has to do with police violence and the violation of civil rights, feel free to ask any one of us and we can explain it to you. That basically makes it illegal to demonstrate, where you have to give authority 8 hours or so prior notice. That if they don't like the way you're protesting, that they can come in with violence and shut you down. You know, like, they removed the homeless in Montreal this way. They made it illegal so that the 1% could turn downtown Montreal into a hostile spectacle. You know, like, we had this problem 70 years ago out because of certain families that created this problem. And they're doing it again. And I think we're kind of sick and tired of the way the system is going. Now, we're saying we've had enough. If they can kick the bastards out in Iceland, we can do it here in our own country.